everyone, I'm Karina, your host for Behind the Pen. Welcome to another episode. I am a best-selling author and award-winning author of 14 books. I'm a podcaster, YouTuber. I'm the host of the Author Assist radio show on the Artist First Radio Network, and I run Author Assist, which helps independent and established authors with book marketing and promotion. And today, my guest on the show is Theresa Weiss. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you.
Whereabouts are you in this big world?
My office is in Denver, Colorado.
Your office, you mean your house or your office?
Office and do business out of. TheresaJourneys.com, which is my international travel company, traveling to what we call transformational power places around the world. The company's been around for 38 years. And right now I'm on a little off the way place so that I can stay COVID free.
Yeah, don't we all wish that? Yes. How is things over there at the moment?
Excellent. Just great.
Good, good. Okay,
Let's
so
go.
but Behind the Pen is basically I chat to anybody who holds a pen. I've had editors, artists, musicians. You are a writer and an author. I know nothing about you, and that's what I love about my guests. I know nothing about you, so we can start right from the beginning. Are you a non-fiction or fiction author?
I am nonfiction, first-time author. Originally wrote the book and finished it in 1999, and it took to get the guts to publish it.
Yeah, tell me about it. I wrote my first fantasy after watching Lord of the Rings, and I wrote the second book after the Two Towers. I never did a trilogy. It was a duology, and it stayed under my bed for 15 years until I picked it up again. Now it's been picked up by a publisher. We're just finishing the audio book. The box set is, thank you. The box set is done, and it's very exciting because, like you say, that book's like with you. Your book's been sitting there, and you know you want to publish it, but you're scared of not just how to do it, because that's a lot of work in itself, but the feedback you're going to get. Are people going to like it? Is it worth putting it out there? Are you scared? So I can understand what that pause was. I mean, that happens with many authors. So tell me about your book. What is it about, Theresa?
Well, the reason I hesitated for 21 years is that my background, I have 25, 30 years background in family medicine and holistic health and ancient healing methods, a researcher and successful businesswoman. And some of this material may seem controversial to people, and that's what I was in fear. I didn't care if they really liked it or not. It's just that I didn't want them to change their opinion about me based on what they were reading.
But I mean, people knew you as a holistic health and spiritual.
You know, my feet on the ground, good sense of humor, salt of the earth.
But people,
second generation Mexican American, feet on the person.
But people know you.
I'm writing about these life experiences I've had, and it's like, hey, I can't help it; they happen to me.
Right. So it's experiences that you've had, not to do with your work wise, but you think that people would see you differently because of it. But you've published it, you've done it. I mean, what was the feedback like?
I've done it. It did take 21 years to get the guts to do it, and I've been thrilled that I finally did. That's one of the best things I ever did in my life. Plus, it was 2020 when most people couldn't do anything. So I feel proud of myself about that.
Good. You should.
The book is Death Walker, Journeys of Life, Death and Beyond. And it's memoirs of experiences that I've had around death and dying, being a nurse, and how transformative those experiences can be if you allow that to take inside yourself, and it can bring a new meaning to your life, no longer a fear of death, and also describing, because I kept journals of my experiences at power places, one of them being the Great Pyramid when I spent the night in the Great Pyramid, and the other one in Machu Picchu when I spent the night in Machu Picchu. And the book starts out with the weirdest thing that I ever heard of, and still weird to me, I've never heard about it since then, where the moment that my grandmother died, my spirit went to her bedside where she was standing there looking at her dead body, and my spirit accompanied her spirit to the first stop when we go to the other side.
Oh, that must have been terrifying.
And that's why it's called Death Walker.
That must have been terrifying for you.
Well, you know why it wasn't? Because for 17 years, I suppressed that memory. It happened in 1982 when my spirit came back. I kind of like came out of a deep sleep. I had been in the family practice clinic, seeing a full load of patients that day. I became totally exhausted and I had to go lay down. And that's when the experience happened. And then when I came to again, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, something happened to Grandma Rosie. And I go, oh, she just died, but did not remember a whit of what happened until 1999. And then I was in Crete doing a conference, an international conference on life, death, and beyond. That was the theme of our conference in the power places of Crete and Greece. And the theme being life, death, and beyond, I figured that's why my subconscious started letting that information, which was so overwhelming to me, bubble up. And one afternoon, I went to the hotel room and wrote the first chapter, the whole thing, entirely. And
it's weird that
1999.
You had that experience, but your memory, your brain blocked it, but something triggered it again.
Yes, it was the theme of life, death, and beyond. And I had international world-renowned speakers who are experts in life after death and near-death experiences. And that must have triggered my
got you being around them,
repressed unconscious to allow that to come up. Plus, it seemed like it was in a safe environment. I mean, all that's a mental thing, but at the time, I was aware of it. All I knew was that it came up. I went to the hotel room, boom, it came out, the first chapter.
You didn't think, oh, it's a dream I've had. You knew straight away that you remembered that happened all that time.
It definitely was not a dream. It definitely was not a dream.
Because you remember it happening.
Well, once I started to remember it 17 years later, I mean, it came back crystal clear and I wrote the whole thing out.
So you said that you've been, you slept at the pyramids. I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
Inside. Well, I get special permission to do that.
Did you really?
And yeah, we've been taking our groups to Egypt since 1983. And for each group, we get special permission to go inside the Great Pyramid, just our group, for up to 2 hours.
Wow.
But I always wanted to go in there by myself. And so one night I was able to, I had the guards turn off the light and I was in there for 2 hours having experiences, which are in the book. My life in the Great Pyramid.
Without giving too much away, what happened while you were there?
I went from the extreme to being really afraid to having one of the most incredible experiences still to this day of my life, culminating in the fact that I will no longer be afraid to die. It's such a peaceful, unbelievable transition. And that's what I experienced, because I ended up in the sarcophagus in the King's Chamber. And bear in mind, this was 100% in the dark from the beginning. And of course, I'd been in there so many times into the Great Pyramid with groups since 1983. And in fact, that 1 week, I had been in over 16, 17 times because we had a huge group and we're taking like only 20 people at a time. So I'd been there by 16 times over across a 5-day period of time. So I was ready. I mean, I was a pilgrim that was ready to approach a holy, sacred power place with the right mind and with awareness.
This is what I was going to ask you.
An enlightened experience.
How do you get yourself ready for something like that? Do you meditate? How do you close off and open yourself up for a reality like that?
You know, that's a really good question. My experience with accompanying groups, well, this is what my husband and I used to do. My beloved husband, Dr. Theresa Weiss, he reawakened and reignited awareness of power places around the world. Back in 1979, he came up with that term based on our experience we had in the sacred island of the Mayas in Cozumel. And what we used to do when we did the fun part, research and development, we would go to the places and sit outside and meditate, centering ourselves, and just ask that our higher self please open our awareness to the sacred energies that are still present there. And it's almost like what I always tell my people, you know, you have to ask permission to enter the space. With humility. It's like you wouldn't go down driving around the street and you see, oh, I like that house, and walk in the front door. You wouldn't do that.
No,
well, you can't
you'd knock
with the energies here. You can, but they are not going to, the energies there are not going to share the secrets that are yours. And by being able to tune in and tap into these secrets, your inner divine wisdom is revealed to you. And these experiences at power places have just totally changed my life. And I search for and live as much as possible a life full of meaning and fun.
And when you have a near-death experience, or you've experienced what you have, or you know you've been given a second chance, then all the little things that used to get you angry and get you upset and get you stressed are nothing anymore, because life's too short, and you know that you've got to live for every day, and you've got to enjoy the short life that we have on this earth. And I think with the experience you've had, with you being able to connect so much with this spiritual side, that they're waiting for you with open arms, whoever's on the other side. You know?
You bring up a good point about the depression, not depression, but about the negative things that have happened, or basically your state of consciousness. Your state of consciousness and your state of mind going into a power place is magnified. And I have a perfect example, which I write about in the book. I wanted to spend the night at Machu Picchu my whole life. I mean,
I've never heard of this place. Can you explain where it is and what it is? I've never heard of
Machu
that
Picchu
before. Yeah, I've never heard of
Machu Picchu in the Andes, which is a incredible site built by the ancient Incas, and Mr. Bingham discovered it because it was like the lost city that the Incas, that the explorers never found. And so I always wanted to spend the night there. We've been taking groups to there since the beginning of our company. And so I arranged it with my brother, our friend, our brother, he's our tour manager of all of our groups. And I said, Walter, but don't tell anybody that I'm in here, because I don't want anybody thinking about me when I'm in there. And so, I set it up, everything closed down. And once it's closed, there's no way can you get out between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So there I was, on purpose, stuck. Well, my point was, you amplify the consciousness that you bring into a power place. Because I'm thinking, I was in the point in my spiritual search that I said, you know what, I'm tired of living in fear. I don't want to be afraid anymore of failure, or of hurting somebody's feelings, or the negative energy of getting mad. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. So I said to myself, okay, tonight I'm going to be at a power place and I'm going to bring up all my fear of everything that I'm afraid of tonight. I think I was, when I look back, I was in competition with my husband because 2 years before that, on the night of the solstice, which is the holiest night of the year, the winter solstice for the Incas, I had spent the night and had this most wonderful experience, and he was all blissed out and da da da. So I feel like I was in competition with him.
Oh
my
God!
I tell you, it's a perfect example of what you
not to do.
Receive. I was never been so freaked out in my life, but I survived. I'm happy that I did that. It was a major initiation about never forgetting you get what you asked for.
You went in there and you asked for that and you got that, and I can only imagine how terrifying that experience must have been that night, opening yourself up.
Oh, you gotta read the book. I mean, I was
allowing your fear to take over.
I'm a Leo. I'm the oldest of 7 siblings. Miss Tomboy when I was 2 years old, and I'm not a scaredy cat. All right.
But everybody has fear.
I was never so scared in my life.
Yeah. But that's what you went for, and I think that's what you got.
I know in the future, if I go back in, I'm not going to ask to have every
not
fear
going to be a negative. No, don't take any negative energy into a place like that.
Don't take your negative consciousness into a power place. It will only be magnified.
So tell me, you've said about the pyramids, you said about this place in, can't remember where it is now. Thank you.
Machu Picchu.
What other places have these power plants?
Well, really, all ancient civilizations had their power places. And whether they were man-made monuments to nature sites. Like, for instance, in not even ancient civilizations, we're talking about the Masons in the Middle Ages, or before the Middle Ages, who built the Gothic cathedrals. They were very aware of the energy they were putting into that special spiritual training. And they would build, Notre Dame, Chartres, and the other major Gothic cathedrals, which Toby and I have visited many of them, and they're definitely a power place. So it's not just the ancient civilizations, like the Incas, or like the Mayans with the Mayan pyramids down there, or like I mentioned, the ancient Egyptians with not just the Great Pyramid, but the Sphinx and all the incredible temples along the Nile River. The Angkor Wat in Cambodia. But then there's nature sites like Yosemite, Yellowstone, Iguazu Falls, Niagara Falls. So places that are awe-inspiring and move you inside.
I would say wouldn't more of an archaeological site, something that's been built for a spiritual reason, have more of a power than somewhere like Niagara Falls?
You know what the maximum is? When they would build a power place, because they would put their energy and thoughts of higher consciousness and connecting the cosmos with the earth energies. If they put that into a nature site that already had a special feeling and mystique to them, or perhaps what you call spiritual beings who guarded the place, like at Machu Picchu, built in a spectacular place. There's other spectacular mountain vistas you can look at. I mean, give me 1,000 across the world. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And that looks exactly like Machu Picchu. But you know what? The energy is not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you, yes. And because there was the purposeful intention and awareness of the builders of the sacred sites, yes, you're going to get that awareness and power hit that much deeper. Yes.
I have 2 questions. The first one, have you been to Stonehenge?
Many times.
How did you feel? What did you get?
Only inside the circle with our people.
You've never been by yourself and opened yourself up?
Excuse me?
You've never been alone and opened yourself up?
Yes. My husband and I actually were there alone. That was a sweet, for want of a better word, sweet, because it's been quite a while, a really sweet, gentle, calming energy, like you were snuggling into the best moment of your life with your mom, maybe even in womb. It was like snuggling into Mother Earth.
Nothing negative at all about the place. There's so many reasons of why it was built and what it was used for. I'm from the UK, so of course I knew Stonehenge and the rumours of it. But you felt just nothing but warmth and love in there.
Well, I got to tell you, it's once again, that's a perfect example of what a person is expecting and what their consciousness is looking for, because there are other aspects that not of the light that people would think about, oh, that's here, or maybe they're fascinated by that. And so because they're fascinated by it, they bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
That's only my opinion.
You get back what you give, basically. You go in
Once
there
again,
with
yes.
a negative
Yes.
thoughts, you're going to
Yes.
have that negative experience. Okay, what about Greece? I'm over in Greece now on the island of Corfu. I've been to many of the beautiful places and spiritual places around Greece, where the first Olympics was, the Acropolis, to Delphi, where the temples were of the gods. I felt power. I'm not into any of this. I felt power while I stood outside the temple, what was left of it, of in Delphi, the temple of the god, and I felt that, and I have no experience at all or any negative or positive feelings about it, but I felt that power. Where have you traveled in Greece? Where would you say your power places are?
There are, well, first of all, I always wanted to go to Corfu. Didn't make it yet. Well, we have been to Greece and have taken groups to Greece and Crete many, many times throughout the years. In fact, some of my favorite, most potent power places are in Greece. And I am not surprised that even when you just approached it, okay, that energy is still pulsating, and your, shall I say, your etheric parts of yourself, which is, and your physical body, started resonating to that higher frequency energy.
I felt
and
it.
We're not aware of that higher, we feel something, and then we go in and we explore the site, and then we leave and go about 300 feet away, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, that was really fantastic. You feel more after you left, because then you feel.
The closer that you're walking.
Are you kidding? Delphi, the temple of Athena Pronea.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the closer you walk to it, the closer you walk to these temples at Delphi, the closer you get to it, the more you feel it. And like you say, when you walk away from it, you feel that power's gone.
Yes.
Whether you're a believer or not, it's
like
there.
When it doesn't, yeah, but you're missing it now,
It's there. It's
and of course the Acropolis with the Temple of Athena. Wow, Toby and I had some of our most powerful experiences when we first were researching power places. And Crete, to me, the whole entire island of Crete is a power place. I think there must be something about the granite combining with the red oxide soil, because red oxide has, what's the word that I want? Shoot. Because I studied this. First of all, granite is a crystal. So crystal transmits energy, okay? Mm-hmm. And the red oxide does something where it's helping your body to ground, and it resonates into your blood with this rich iron. That's what it is, it's iron, with the rich iron oxide. So I find the whole island there, like Knossos, and I could just stare at those. Have you been to Knossos?
I haven't. No, I haven't been to Crete.
You got to go to Knossos. If you can't go anyplace else, you got to go to Knossos. Looking at those ancient symbols, oh, I mean, they are like so primordial that the Minoans drew and painted on the sacred walls there.
Wow.
So absolutely Greece is a power place, and Crete.
That's so cool. And you have that written about your experiences in Greece in your book.
You know what? I didn't write about an experience I had in Greece or Crete, except for the fact that that's where it was in Crete that I manifested the book.
That's your number 2 then.
Life, Death, and Beyond. So you're
Theresa,
right.
That's number 2. Your experiences, and going back, of course, to get more experience and more research for Greece and Crete. That's your number 2 book.
Yes.
You could write a whole book just on those 2 places.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Maybe someday I'll add that to my list of the 7 more books I want to write.
So what are you working on now, honey?
Well, I'm working on being an author, which is a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And I have a course. I'm requested to make write a lot of articles on different subject matter having to do with my book. For instance, one of the main themes that I was wanting to write about, and with my medical background, I've been very, very aware of this, of how the COVID reality of 2020 just flipped everybody upside down. We were all feeling like we were surfing on quicksand, and if we fell off the surfboard, we were going to get sucked down into the vortex of non-existence. Our families didn't work, our jobs didn't work, or we lost our job, our friends didn't work.
Just stopped. Everything just stopped.
Didn't work. The only thing that was the same was our pets.
We were living in a science fiction film, Theresa. We're living in a science fiction film. And we're going back to a dystopian world.
The problem is that's our new reality now, and it's never going to go.
It's never going. No, that's right.
To assist people, I find my book, Death Walker, Life, Death, and Beyond, is a treasure map with 3 wisdoms of how to navigate into a new life, a new reality, and a new self. Because nothing works anymore, and no matter how you cry baby about it, it ain't ever coming back. And those 3 wisdoms are, first of all and foremost, stay in the moment. You got to stay in the moment in order to navigate all the energies that are happening, and everybody's all upset and chaos and all that. Not everybody, but you know.
Keep in your bubble. Stay in your bubble.
Yes. Number 2, you stay in the moment. You got to deep breathe and exhale. Stay in the moment, deep breathe. That will cause stillness within yourself. If someone wants to navigate and create a new life for themselves, you cannot do it without inner stillness, first and foremost. I mean, it's like so basic. Breathing, close your eyes, stay in the moment, put your phone in the other room, or any social devices in the other room. Then what starts happening is that your little voice, your intuition begins to bubble up and emerge. And you're going to get thoughts and impressions. If you're still and stop the brain chatter, because we all know the difference between our mind and our brain is telling us something,
my never shuts up.
And that little voice, that little feeling in our gut. Once a person starts being open to that all the time and always trusting their intuition, never going back on their intuition, a sense of freedom that emerges from doing that in your life is incredible. Because you don't have to say everything. It doesn't matter that the person in front of you is saying one thing and your gut's saying, no, that's not right. And they're your boss or whatever, you go, no, that's not right. You always got to go with your gut. I learned that the hard way when I was in Yucatan in the Mayan jungle, and I almost got lost in the rainforest, big time, with hundreds of miles of raw rainforest around me. And I had a hard lesson in using my intuition, actually having to navigate through the rainforest 1 foot at a time, my hands off, feeling, okay, and then I have to still myself and say, where do I take the next step? Because really I couldn't see anything in front of my face, and there was no sun to navigate.
Oh,
and Once I did that, I said, I will never doubt my intuition again. And then by doing that, you cultivate your own personal wisdom within from your own divine wisdom. And you're able to start to create and manifest the life that your higher self wants for you. And frequently, it's a lot better than we could have even imagined. But we have to stay in the moment first and be still.
What's on your bucket list? If there's one place you haven't been and you have to see, to go and feel before you go over to the other side, what's the one place that you haven't been to that you need to see?
Oh, you mean that I desire to go to?
Your desire, yeah, not need, desire.
Desire or want to be?
Want.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because you've travelled everywhere.
I only get one pick, huh?
Only one, only one. One that's on your top of your list.
For some reason, Antarctica comes in. I've always wanted to go.
See the Northern Lights.
Get off the boat and walk for a while.
That would be the next place.
Well, I don't know if that's the next place, but
if you could.
Four, as far as wanting to visit it before I go to the other side.
I can only, that's on my bucket list, to see the Northern Lights. I can only imagine the feeling you get while you're standing there watching the atmosphere and those lights, and it must be
the Aurora Borealis.
Oh, it must just be amazing. It really must.
You know what? Yeah, I was in Iceland for the Aurora Borealis. Stunning. Awestruck. You can barely just breathe. But it's like a movie, you don't want to blink. I can't even explain the energy.
The energy.
Those lights start coming across the vapors.
Yeah.
Palpable.
Yeah, I can. That's on my bucket list.
I was in Iceland at the time.
I can only imagine what that's like to actually see it, because.
And I don't like snow. You have to go in the winter.
You don't like the cold.
What an idiot I was, but I'm so glad I did.
Well, you've done that then. You've seen that. So if you've seen the Northern Lights and you've been there and you've got that experience, why Antarctica?
Why what?
Why would you want to go and visit Antarctica? What do you think you're going to find there? What are you looking for?
I never really thought about it before, but the first thing that comes to mind is that I'll sense some information there, something that I'll be happy, some piece of my puzzle. And what the heck does that mean? I have no clue. But as I'm saying, let's be correct, because now my stomach hurts. And that's always a good sign for me that I'm on the right track.
Then you've got to go there. You've got to somehow get your ass over there. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. It's been an absolute...
I'll send you a postcard from there. Okay, now I want to go.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's an absolute pleasure chatting with you. You've just blown my mind. And I hope anyone who's watching the video or listening to the podcast feels the same way, because you've just opened the door to something that people don't even know about, that exists, and hopefully will get people thinking more about this situation and wanting to experience it themselves. Who knows? It's
yeah, but I think too that sometimes people have a yearning, but they can't quite put their finger on it.
Yeah.
Tap within their higher self. They know something's missing. They're not quite sure what.
Yeah.
And that's what my book's about.
That's amazing. Where can we find this fabulous book? Where can we find it?
On Amazon.com, or you can go to my website, TheresaDominguezWeiss.com. And then there's the travel programs with me, TheresaJourneys.com.
I think there's going to be definitely some people that will be interested in your group, I can't say holidays, group experiences, because there's so many spiritual people out there, and so many people that live with meditation and stuff that would love to, that would love to do something like you've done, and you've been doing it for so many years now. I mean, do you have the same people come back all the time? Were you always
frequently? Like I just got I sent out a email to my audience, which I have a mailing list of, you know, from the last 25, 30 years, and announcing about the book. And I heard back from a lady. She goes, "You probably don't remember me, but I've gone with you, you know, 3 times to Egypt and once to Mexico for the Yucatan." And it's like, I did remember her, you know? And yeah, so people are drawn, people have life-changing experiences at those places.
I think once you've done it, you need more.
Well, you don't want to go
become addictive.
You don't want to go on a regular vacation and then come back home and say, "Oh God, I need a vacation from my vacation."
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful chatting with you, Theresa. I wish you all the best with the book. I think it's going to blow people's mind, and I hope they go out and get it and leave great reviews for you.
Thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and you take care of yourself and stay well.
And KK, this has been such a pleasure and a lot of fun with you.